I mean, the expectations are high here, and that's a credit to all the great players and coaches that we've had over the past 13 years since I've been the head coach, and we've set a standard. I mean, we've had 11, 10 plus win seasons in a row, us in Alabama, and so consistency is really, I think, has been our hallmark. I mean, not every year in my 13 years has ended in an ACC title, and not every year has been a national championship. But some years we've won the league, and some years we've even won the national championship. But the biggest thing is being consistent.
Can you ask him about Brent Venables going to Oklahoma? Absolutely. That's on my list of questions that I'm going to be talking to him here. So, yeah, absolutely. I can't wait. This football season has been, without a doubt, it's going to be, I think, one of the most interesting seasons that we've seen in a long time here in college football. I really do. And a guy that I have so much respect for. And by the way, let's bring in Dabo Swinney here. Coach, I want to say this to you, and this is a compliment, Coach. You ready? So
Yeah.
You finished the season 10-3. And folks, it's a down season, and I'm going to show you why that this is a good thing here. You had 6 straight ACC championships, 6 straight times you went to the college football playoff. Coach, you set the bar so high. Now with your football program, we used to say the same thing, Coach, under Jimmy Johnson. Coach, we'd go like this, 10-2. Man, does that suck. It's now a level of play there at Clemson that's expected, no?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the expectations are high here, and that's a credit to all the great players and coaches that we've had over the past 13 years since I've been the head coach, and we've set a standard. I mean, we've had 11, 10 plus win seasons in a row, us in Alabama, and so consistency is really, I think, has been our hallmark. I mean, not every year in my 13 years has ended in an ACC title, and not every year has been a national championship. But some years we've won the league, and some years we've even won the national championship. But the biggest thing is being consistent. And really, we've got 5 goals. They never change. And just trying to focus on achieving those goals. And, the only disappointment from last year for me, of our 5 goals, we only hit 2 of them. We won the state championship and we won the closer. We didn't win the opener, we didn't win the division, and we didn't win our league. And, when we hit, 3 or 4 or 5 of those, we usually have a special type of season and from a championship standpoint. And, but the big thing is having a program that consistently competes. And we did. We competed all the way till the end last year, and we gave ourselves a shot. We got in a bind. We were 4-3, and been a long time since we've been 4-3 around here. A lot of these guys hadn't lost 3 games in their career. I mean, some of these guys, these older guys, were a part of teams that won 29 in a row. So that was it was the first real adversity that we've had in a long time. And but like I told them, at 4-3, we're not defined by being 4-3. What we're going to be defined by is how we finish, because that's what we control. And to be quite honest with you, with the team, that at that moment, I told them, I said, we probably got more of an opportunity to really show people what we're made of, what our foundation is built upon, what the culture of Clemson is. It's not going to be easy, but we probably have more people paying attention right now than we would if we were 7-0. And so to win 6 in a row, to find some gritty wins along the way, I'm super proud of that team. And I now have we go from 4-3 to 6 wins in a row, which is the longest winning streak in the Power 5 going into this season, which just goes to show you how hard it is to win. That's the longest winning streak in the country right now at 6.
Wow.
So I was proud of that team, but, from the outside looking in, people, expect us to be in the playoff and all those things. But I can assure you, nobody has higher expectations than we have for ourselves. But for me, I've never measured our success based on a championship or the playoffs or anything. I really measure every team on their commitment, to the standard, how we handle ourselves off the field and all those type of things, and just the character of the group. And we had a lot of challenges and a lot of injuries and things like that. And and we just weren't quite as good as we needed to be in certain areas. But man, they finished well, and I think how they finished has given them a great perspective going into this season, and hopefully we can build upon it.
Coach, I love your group this year, and it looks like to me you guys are going to be able to run the ball, but this is all going to come down to how well your passing game, especially on offense. I'll get over to the defensive side of the ball here in a second, but do you agree, Coach? I mean, your record at the end and where you want to be is all going to be predicated on what you do offensively this year.
Well, I mean, I always say teams win championships, so we got to do it together for sure. But there's no question we got to be better offensively, and we will be. Last year was, man, it was painful in a lot of areas. But the thing about it, what I loved about it is, again, we found a way, and really, honestly, with our least personnel available, we played our best football down the stretch, and that's a credit to the coaches and the guys, just finding a way. And so, yeah, there's no doubt we've got to be better. We got to be a better passing team, period. The end. And we've always thrown the ball all over the park, and we've been very successful. And last year was a perfect storm for us. I mean, we had a ton of injuries and things like that, and we didn't play as well as we're capable of in certain areas. We didn't help DJ. He's got to be better. We certainly got to be better around him, and we got to get you got to have a little luck along the way too in some key areas. But we're going to be a lot better up front, which is where it starts, with just functional depth. I love our offensive line, what I'm seeing right now, and what I think we have the ability to do. We got to go do it. We finally got all of our receivers, back in a good spot. And, we ended up having to start two true freshmen last year at receiver. And, everybody was hurt. And so it's going to serve them well this year. But getting all these guys back will help DJ. And we're a much more experienced group. But it's going to start with running the football. But people know what we've got in the backfield. And also saw how we struggled last year. We dropped a bunch of balls. We missed some throws. We were, as a result, a poor third down team. So those are things that this team has to improve upon if we want to have a better year. And I don't have any doubt we will. And then defensively, same thing. We got a lot to work on. We weren't a good. We were a good defense last year, but it was our worst third down defense in 10 years. So. We had some injuries on that side too, and some young guys here and there, but it's a very experienced group, but we're built in the trenches, I think, on both sides. And if we can, stay healthy, I think we've got a chance to work all the rest of that stuff out.
Coach, one of the things that I enjoyed when I was at UM with Jimmy Johnson is that Coach would have all these coordinators leave, whether it be Dave Wanstead, Butch Davis, what have you. Dave Campbell's on the team there with us. And the one thing that we always were able to do, even if the head coach has changed from Howard to Jimmy to Dennis, the one thing we kept was a formula and a foundation and a system that we remained intact. Obviously, Brett Venables is no longer there for you, somebody that's been on that side of the ball for you. But to me, it was more about the culture that you guys have created and what we created. We always used to say, just don't screw it up. Let's just keep it going here and let's not screw it up. So, I mean, probably not going to see much of a difference, you think, on that side of the ball because you've created that culture on that side?
Yeah, I mean, listen, players come and go, coaches come and go, but, it's a Clemson defense, it's a Clemson offense, and ultimately the culture stays the same. And, we've established something that's really special here. And, there's always tweaks. You're always trying to get better. And, Wes will come in and, he'll put he and Mickey and Nick's new coming in. They'll put their own little stamp on some things, but how we play and the philosophy of how we play, that doesn't change on either side of the ball. I'm going to set the standard and the expectations always on who we are as a defense and an offense from a philosophy standpoint. And then, we're going to work within those parameters year in and year out. We've always done that, even though, you may have a new coach here or there, or a bunch of new players. So, it's definitely this is all about the players. I mean, it really is. For us, everything here has been driven, by the players buying into what we ask them to do. And, us coaches get a lot lot more credit than we deserve. These guys make it happen, and regardless of changes around them, man, this is a special group that's bought in. We had 109 guys go through spring. Nobody left. Everybody stayed. And I think that just goes to show, especially in today's world, it goes to show, how they feel about their coaches and the culture here.
Coach, I'm going to get into some pretty tough questions about college football now, because I never thought in my life, and I guarantee you, because you and I are kind of around the same time when we played, I never thought I would ever hear something like this. Hey, it's cool to buy players from high school. I mean, there were programs you and I knew that were out there that did that stuff. And, the grandfather handshakes, the clergy guy or what have you that was friendly with the family, all kinds of things from the old days. I mean, it's got to be really weird for you to sit there and have to deal with something like that and that transition. How has that been? Coaching against that when people are recruiting against you with it, and how you've got to, and by the way, so people know out there, if Clemson wanted to, with that PTI thing, promise to pay, or that 30 thing that you guys have, trust me, Clemson could be right there with Texas if you guys wanted it. How are you keeping that all compartmentalized here? How are you handling that?
Yeah, I mean, in a weird way, it's not any different than it's ever been.
It's just in the open.
It's just things are in the open, and kids that can be manipulated in the process. We've never gotten those guys, and so we just have continued. Honestly, I mean, truthfully, the crazier it's gotten, the better it is for us. That's what I've experienced, because we're a very established program. I mean, I'm going on year 20 here. I'm on my 14th year as the head coach, and we have a very established culture, a very connected place. And, we have a brand. People understand who we are in the recruiting world. And so, the kids that are just making their decisions, and listen, the NIL is important. And from our standpoint, it's been a real positive. Our kids have our job, the way I see it, is it's just another part of your program. Like, if you want to get strong, you go to the weight room. You need food, you go to the dining hall. You need treatment, you go to the training room. You need recovery, you go to the wellness area. I mean, we have to have the resources available. You need academics, you go over to the academic center. You need to learn how to play quarterback, come up here to the quarterback room. I mean, so it's another spoke in the wheel. But here at Clemson, it's not the cog in the wheel. The purpose of our program has not changed one word, one bit. It's just another, like I said, spoke in the wheel. And you got to make sure you have the resources. I don't want anybody to not come here because, man, we don't have a great program in place. But I don't want anybody to come here because of that. I want kids to come here because they value what we offer, and they like us as people. They want structure. They want accountability. They want discipline. They value education. They value long-term development as a man and career development. Those are the things that we're all about here. And, oh, by the way, this is Clemson. I mean, if you want to participate in your name, that's there's no free ride, so, we don't get involved in the NIL stuff on the recruiting side. And I know there's a lot of that goes on out there, and that's gone on before it was legal. That went on, but we didn't get involved in that either. And so to me, I don't really look at it any different other than, hey, it's been really good for the players. It's been a real positive, I think. I just think with any new thing, there's always unintended consequences, and there's always people that are going to use it in the way it's not intended. And, you're going to have some kids that are 17 years old, and they're going to make decisions at 17 years old based on money. And I don't think that's a good way to go about things. I don't think it's a good way to go about things at any age. I think, and then you get there because the logo wears off and all that stuff goes away. And then you realize, man, I don't like these people I'm with. So we really, honestly, I think it has kind of even more separated us a little bit and made us maybe even more appealing to the type of kids that we want to recruit and the type of families. And again, it's not that these kids don't want to maximize NIL. Yeah, absolutely. But that's not their number one thing. That's just a part of the equation. And so our job is to help them navigate, to protect them, to train them, to educate them, to help them navigate and maximize NIL opportunity while they're in college. Some of these kids' brands will be bigger in college than they will if they go pro. So let's help them maximize that, but let's do it in a way that helps them stay focused on the long-term, things that are going to last. Because you and I both know, short-term money, it doesn't hang around very long. And the number one thing for us has always been graduation. And that is never going to change. And man, I am the first college graduate in my family. I know that 98% of these kids are not going to play in the pros, and shame on us if we don't do everything we can to help them, stay on track academically, because they need it, man. They need it. And it's not that you can't be successful without your education. You can, but it's just harder. And data says that. So, I'm all for, I would love to see them continue to improve. We don't have any rules right now. We have no normalcy. We have no like it's like crazy.
No guardrails.
Nothing. And so there's going to be some bad stories and some things. And then you throw in the fact that you got immediate eligibility, and so that leads to tampering. We don't have any rules. Like, you got a lot of tampering going on in college football. That's just a fact.
It's crazy.
See what happens in the NFL. Boom, they come find you and take the first round picks, and we don't have any consequences. So, but to each his own. People are going to do what they need to do. All I'm focused on is Clemson. I mean, listen, there's so much out there that I have zero control over. The only thing I am focused on is our program, these kids, man, serving their heart, trying to help them, develop into the best players they can be yet, but more importantly, great men. So when I see them when they're 30, man, they want to come hug my neck and high five me and not go the other way. So, man, we've built a branding institute. We've got an NIL coordinator. We have all these things to help them, because there's a lot going on, from an education standpoint. So, I mean, it's been great. It really has been great for us, as far as how we've gone about our approach. And we're doing well in recruiting, and we don't even talk about NIL. I mean, like, we had an official visit. We didn't have one discussion about NIL until the last day right before they left. And it was purposeful. And that was my message to them is, listen, I know this is important. And if you choose to come to Clemson, there'll be opportunity for you. But I want you to come here, because this is where you want to be. And, and not base it on anything else. And it's been really cool as we've gone through this process to see it all come to fruition. And then we've had kids on our team. I mean, I got, KJ Henry was able to raise money to help his dad for a kidney transplant. I mean, what a great thing. Something he wouldn't have been able to do pre-NIL. I think that's awesome. Again, this is their name, their image, their life. I've never had a problem. I worked all through college. The only thing that I've always, really, really just drawn a line in the sand on is going away from the collegiate model and doing away with academics and the scholarship and just completely devaluing education. Man, we need to do everything we can to incentivize graduation and make sure that we fulfill our responsibility in getting these guys equipped and educated and having degrees. I've had 324 seniors and 318 graduates, and that's my scorecard. That's the thing that matters most to me is making sure when they walk out of here, man, they got a degree, and they've got an education, because there is a difference. And, I want them to have that education to go along with that degree and to have those tools they need to be successful. So it's a crazy time. And hopefully, there'll be some order somewhere down the road, whether it's college football restructuring and we have some type of parameters. But right now, man, it's crazy. And you hear some of these stories out there and you just go, wow. But like I said, the good Lord's guides us here. And I don't have any doubt, man, when it's all said and done, our guys are going to do well with this opportunity.
Coach, so am I under the impression then that schools can just contact your players, even if they're under scholarship, and if they're recruiting, say, and I'm not going to name a school, I don't want to get into, I'll just name Eagle Creek University. contacts one of your defensive linemen. He's a second team guy, and he contacts the parents or something like that and goes around the end so that he can get a message to the kid that, hey, they're not playing you there. You're not in the rotation from what I'm understanding. Your family's telling me that you're a little bit upset. Hey, would you think about coming here and transferring? So you have the transfer portal and you have potential tampering. You're telling me that stuff goes on now with the big programs like you in Alabama? And there's no guardrails on that?
Yeah, there's no guardrails. I mean, they're supposed
Holy
to be.
cow. How do you keep your guys in the building?
Yeah, they're supposed to be. There are supposed to be, tampering things, but it definitely there's no question that goes on, and so you have all those things, but you have coaches that have pressure of winning, now, and so a coach is not supposed to contact a parent or contact a player who's on a scholarship somewhere else unless they're in the portal, and but you see a lot of these kids. They go in the portal and they already know where they're going. How do they know where they're going? I mean, I've had kids come in and over the years that are leaving, I'm like, where are you going? Well, I'm going here. Well, how you got a scholarship there? It's amazing. So, but listen, to each his own. I don't really. We didn't have anybody leave here, and I'd be foolish to think that we didn't have somebody contact our guys. In fact, I'm pretty sure that happened. So the focus is, and what you got to do is you got to do a great job with your roster. You have to really, truly, and we've always been built from the inside out. And if you do a great job with your kids and you're transparent and you do a good job with your communication and making sure everyone understands where they are, because the grass isn't greener. A lot of these kids, the sad part about it is listen, some kids, it's the right thing for them. It's the right time. You're all on the same page. It's a good opportunity for them. Maybe they're a senior that's graduated that, man, they're going to be a backup. They got a chance to go play some more over here. Hey, those are great things. But when you got freshmen that have just gotten here and, they go through spring and they're like, oh man, I'm going, it's going to be a tough year. And then you got little Susie in their ear saying, I told you, man, you'd be starting here. Or what happens is a lot of times, coaches will use players from their team to reach out, and get the players to start recruit. So, there are no guardrails right now. There's no reason for pause. There's no consequences. And so I think there's going to be a lot of kids that make decisions based on the wrong things. And then you're going to look up and they're going to be at 2 or 3 schools. And then academically that I don't think that's healthy for them. And then in the end, what are you connected to? You're connected to Miami, right? Like what are you connected to? And so it's complicated, but I do think that I think we're heading in the right direction, as crazy as that seems, because I do think with all that's going on, there's going to be some type of restructuring and some type of order, whether people seem to want the NFL from a model standpoint, like, with playoffs and this type of stuff expanded. So if you're going to have that, then ultimately there's going to have to be some rules that everybody can agree on and things like that. But, we'll see where it goes. But I can tell you this, man, it's never been better to be a Clemson Tiger. And we got a great group of guys that and a great, recruiting base and just a very solid culture and foundation that's been built over years. And it's going to be a lot of fun to navigate these next few years as we keep moving forward.
No, absolutely, Coach. You got a great culture. 2 last questions for you here, Coach. Do you think college football is in a great place right now when we're looking at the restructuring of college football, when it's these super conferences? And obviously Clemson, Florida State, Miami, and the ACC are targets for potentially Big Ten, Southeastern Conference. Man, to coach today, social media, nil. You got that. All the players are hearing all this. And then you got to go out there and have a 3-hour practice. I don't even know if that's legal any longer. You got to go out there and have a practice. By the way, don't ever go to a Ray Perkins practice because they're 3-a-days. So I won't bring that up. But, Coach, how do you navigate where college football is? Do you think it's in a good place?
Well, I think, first of all, I think the programs out there that are really relationship driven, they're going to do just fine. The programs that are more transactional, they're going to struggle. There's going to be a lot of coaches, there's going to be a bunch of coaches not keep their jobs. But, from where I think college football is in a good place as far as what's going on with the players, and that they have more opportunity to maximize some things while they're in college within the collegiate model. I think that's great. I don't think college football is in a good place at all from a governance standpoint. I think it's an absolute mess. And there's no coach out there that won't agree with that. At least not on camera. I mean, it's a mess when it comes to order and rules, structure, etc. And it's kind of crazy. So, but I think it's gonna lead us into a better place. And I think we'll look up. It might be 18 months or 2 years or 3 years, but I think when we look up in that time frame, we'll say, you know what, hey, all right, there was some pain along the way, but hey, we're in a good place right now. As far as overall college football and the popularity of it and all that, I mean, it's never been better. I mean, people love college football. People, and again, people sitting around all day, every day talking about the problems of college football, and so that tells you that the popularity of college football has never been better because people care. But governance-wise, from a just governance structure and being able to get things done, especially like for the Power 65. I mean, it's almost impossible to, something that should take 40 minutes to get done takes 4 years. So the bureaucracy, the governance structure, it's not good. What we've seen from a player standpoint, there's a lot of positives, but there's some chaos that's come with it that's not intended, but it's got to be dealt with somewhere along the way. And then just again, fandom and popularity. Shoot, I mean, people love it. They
absolutely,
because they're passionate about it. And regardless of what you think, people will love to sit around and talk about college football. So you got the NFL and you got college football. It's the two most popular sports in the country. So I don't think that's going to change. But I think from a moving forward standpoint, you to really be successful as a coach, you're going to have to really, have a great culture. You're going to have to really have, great relationships within your walls. And you got to be a great communicator. You got to get everybody to buy in more so than ever before. And if you can't do that, it's probably going to struggle.
Finally, Coach, NFL aspirations. You just mentioned it. I mean, you're a young guy. You've built a legendary program at Clemson. Coaching college kids and making that transition to the National Football League. Is that something, Coach, that is out there for you? Do you ever think about it? I know you're a Clemson guy and you love the program, and this is where you are, where your feet is right now, Coach. And I always tell coaches, and coaches always tell me that, hey, I'm where I am right now. That's who I am. But is that something out there that could be a goal down the line for you, that you might want to try to do that and make that transition like Pete Carroll and Jimmy Johnson did?
Yeah, well, I mean, if you look at my career, I've never been a move around guy. I've always been a bloom where you plant guy. I spent 13 years in Tuscaloosa, and I'm on year 20 at Clemson. So, I've had lots of opportunities. I had opportunities to leave Alabama, and I'd be honest with you, I'd probably still be there if my head coach hadn't got fired and I didn't get kept by Dennis Franchione. So, I just have always been focused on being great where I'm at, and I've had a lot of opportunities to leave Clemson, both professionally and collegiately over the years. But I've just stayed here, and I'm driven by my faith. I always say, I never say never. I mean, I don't think, and if you can't make future decisions, based on present situation, you know what I'm saying? Like, how do I know in 10 years or 5 years or whatever? I mean, I have no idea what the world's going to be. I mean, the new AD may hate me. I have no idea what life will be. And so I don't waste any time thinking about that. So I always say I never say never. And anytime things come my way, I'm always just led by my faith. And man, I'll be here till I retire, or unless God has a different plan. And if God has a different plan, I'm sure He'll reveal that to me on His time, not my time. And it's up to me whether I follow whatever His will for my life is. And so I don't map out 20 years. I don't map out 10 years. I map out today, like right now, today. And that's how I go about it. And, but I'm honest with you. I'm like, all you got to do is look at my track record.
Yeah.
I met my wife in the 1st grade. We started dating in the 6th grade. Been married 28 years. I'm a very simple guy. But, I don't know. I mean, I never say never, but I don't spend a lot of time thinking about any of that stuff.
Well, I'll tell you what, your environment, like I said, is awesome. And the first time I played at Clemson, that little tiger paw, you see that little one out in the street, and you see the big one as you're getting closer to the stadium, and then you see that welcome to Death Valley. I'll tell you what, man, it's one of the coolest environments that I've ever played in. They let loose like about 200,000 balloons back in the day at this game that we played in. Because I started my career at Maryland, Coach, and then I transferred to Miami. And that was one of the greatest environments. And you have a really great environment. You have a great program. And I think you guys are going to be a Final Four team this year. Thank you so much for taking time with me.
Appreciate it, Dan. Hey, good to be with you, man. I appreciate how you go about things too. And
thank you, sir.
Hey,
thank you. Have a great season. You got it. That is Dabo Swinney. Please do me a favor, guys, and hit the like button. That was awesome for him to spend that much time with us. Hey, real quick, I want to throw out there about our friends at Morgan & Morgan. Where the fee is free. Know this, and you know what that means? They do not get paid unless you do. If you're hurt or injured on the job, finding an attorney to get you the fair compensation you and your family needs is one of the most important things that you could possibly do. That's right. With over 800 attorneys in offices in Philadelphia, New York, and in Florida, the biggest law firm in the country is going to do battle for you when they're in a courtroom. There's no such thing as a fender bender, and there's no such thing as a small case. Call them at 800-512-1600. That's 800-512-1600. Open 24/7, 7 days a week. And as I said, the call is free. The consultation's free. 800-512-1600. And when you call Morgan & Morgan, do me a favor. Tell them Big Sil sent you.
When choosing a lawyer for your injury case, you may ask, does the size of the law firm matter? Well, of course it does. The insurance company, they're huge with unlimited resources. And whether your case is big or small, they're built to bully you out of the money you're owed. But here's the good news. We're big too, the biggest actually. And we're built to fight to make them pay for all that was taken from you. Size is our strength. There's only one Morgan & Morgan. ForThePeople.com.